people and then free them. Is that what they are telling us? It cannot be. Then these captures are as weak as anything. That you can just go and there wouldn't be any bloodshed. So I am sure, though I don't have any evidence, but my intuition is telling me that something might have exchanged hands for them to come out, for some military officers to save their face there, that they are indeed working when they are not working. And this tells us the way and manner we recruit people into our security agencies. How well do we get the best into our security services? Corruption. And Nigeria is no exception. Ghana here. How do you recruit people into our police and our military? They pay. The person is not qualified. But the person has money to pay to be in there. So it has become business. If I pay to get myself into the military or police, you think I'll serve the interest of the country? I have to recoup my invested money. How do I do that? When I'm sent to the Galamsey site to make sure that people do not do illegal mining, I would rather be aiding them, guiding them. That's why you see our forest. You saw our forest with military men guarding Galamseyers to just destroy the environment. You see the police always guiding them. That is the root cause of it, because they pay to get into the service. And such people, why would they not form a gang to be adapting innocent people? They will, because their investment is still not recouped. So let's look at it that way and let Nigerians, the good ones, rise up to the occasion. You are more than the bad nut. Don't let them take you on that journey to destroy the future of Nigeria. Ghana, we are lucky that sometimes we, the good ones who are more than the bad, we stand up or rise up to the occasion and speak against the ills in society. That is why we have not been overwhelmed by some of these abductions. You think that people that are flooding into this country, when they get, they will not engage in these abductions. But they know there is no country apart from Ethiopia that is more of concerned people than Ghana. Go and do it, they will whisper, this guy is doing that they will expose you. And he will come after you. So Nigeria must refrain from that. I'll end it here.
Right, thank you very much, Solomon Owusu. Now let me come to the NDC's Prince.
Yeah, thank you very much, Bless. I want to use this opportunity to say a very good morning to our cherished viewers across, most especially my people in the Upper West region. And I'm sure you know that your station enjoy a lot of viewership from the northern part of this country, without any scientific research anyway, Doc.
No. The phenomenon is so obvious.
Yes, yeah. So also to say a very good morning to my results-oriented chairman Abdul Nasser Sani Bonas. He is doing the watching this morning.
Chairman, good morning.
Yes, gradually the name Nigeria is becoming synonymous to kidnap. I mean, kidnapping. Growing up and coming to understand what kidnapping is, it's gradually becoming synonymous to the name Nigeria. Sometimes in other parts of Africa, if this shameful act is being introduced there and the culprits eventually are apprehended, you find Nigerians in there. This is not to give any bad name, but that is the obvious truth. Even in Ghana here, we have recorded, similar cases of attempted kidnapping, and at the end of the day, you find them in there. It is not any good development. Not to talk about the specific case we have at hand, where mostly students, very vulnerable group, and the target normally is the female ones. And the stories that comes after it later, it's not anything good to write home about. Bless, my worry about this story you have introduced is the inconsistency in the figures given out. That is also another cause for worry, because you find the school authorities quoting 287, whilst the state governor is also giving 136 or so. Now, a journalist asked him why the inconsistency, and he gave a very dishonorable answer that he really didn't care about the numbers involved. What he's interested in is that at the end of the day, they have been freed. So technically, you will want to ask yourself this question. If you are not worried about the numbers involved, how did you know, or how did you arrive at the conclusion that they have been freed? Well, you should know the numbers that were abducted before you can celebrate their assets were being freed. You understand? So if they were truly 280 plus students that were abducted, and you have witnessed the freeing of 137, how do you celebrate this? So my first concern is about the inconsistencies that is coming out. The school authorities are giving a different figure, and the state authorities are also giving a different figure. If you follow the story, another worrying aspect of it is that the location of the school is even cut out from National Communications Network. So it is even difficult to reach out to that enclave. And you see, from 2014, we started, hearing these stories of mass abduction in especially northern Nigeria. And you will want to, just like Solo was questioning the security, the intelligence level, the intelligence of the army in Nigeria, it has now become predominant. For instance, the statistics there shows that from 2014 till date, roughly almost 1,500 students have been abducted within that same enclave. So you have a school where students numbering in hundreds, you don't put in any security measures and you just allow it. And come to think of it, it's not only one person or 1, 2, 3, or 5. We're talking hundreds of people. So it is not a case that motorbike rider will just come and pick somebody at the back of the bike and flee. No, this will require some mass movement of the abductees. Did they come with buses? Is it private pickups? So they could travel. Of course, they did not fly with them. They used the road. How did they travel with this huge number to a secret location, no checkpoints? And so for me, the story doesn't add up, and it only exposes some form of negligence, incompetence, so to speak, on the side of the Nigerian security. So you see, if you do the 1 + 1, it doesn't give you 2. So it will allow you naturally to come to a conclusion that there is something fishy about the stories that we hear. I want to conclude by saying that sometimes, personally, I have a feeling that it could also just be some cook-up stories. Because when I do the additions, it doesn't give any meaningful answer. So I'm tempted sometimes to believe that it is their Amina robbery. You remember there was a story in this country some years back where somebody faked a robbery incident, and it took the whole country on our toes. And at the end of the day, it turned out that it was just for the purposes of... so for me, it doesn't add up. But if what the story entails is anything to go by, then it means that Nigeria as a country, they have not learned anything from their insecurity, especially what is happening in northern Nigeria. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Doc.
Yes. Good morning to the cherished viewers of ours. Good morning to my co-panelist and to my host, my handsome host. But before I proceed, permit me to render an unqualified apology. And I will tell you why. You know, as Muslims, we are expected to fast in the month of Ramadan. But we have a category of people who are exempted from fasting. So one of them is, or among them are people who are medically unfit to fast. But even that, if you are not fasting, in solidarity with and respect for the fasting community, you don't have to publicly consume or drink. Unfortunately, last week, in the full glare of cameras, I was here drinking because I was that was a serious commission. That was a blunder. That was an abomination, for which I must apologize.
So somebody saw it and pointed it out to you?
Yes, so in fact, I rise in honor of my imam, my mentor, my elder brother, Imam Sheikh Ambassador Sanda.
Okay, so he was watching.
So he drew my attention to it. And he has been an imam. Part of his job, technically, is to guide. So drawing my attention to that anomaly was part of his guidance. I rise in his honor. I thank him so much. The Quran says, فمن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر. Now, those who are sick or those who are traveling may defer their fast to another time that may be suitable for them too, and that God wants us. God chooses for us comfort, not discomfort. Ease, not burden. You see. So last week I was medically unfit to fast. This week I'm fasting. So my brother, please take your water. Don't tempt me with that water. Take your water. Take your water.
I thought as much.
Yes. So I'm so sorry. Once again, Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Karim, كل عام وأنتم بخير. نسأل المولى أن يوفقنا وأن يتقبل دعاءنا وأن يتقبل صيامنا. I'm praying that God accepts our fast and sincere apologies.
Right.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Right.
You know, you agree with me that Nigeria is a very blessed country. Nigeria is your name. It is a blessed country in terms of natural resources, in terms of intellectual ability, in terms of economic power, in terms of numerical strength. Unfortunately, Nigerians haven't been able to substantially benefit from their blessing. And we can trace that to only one thing: excessive love for materialism. Almost all Nigerians are competing over materialism. And that has been the source of insecurity in Nigeria. Too much of greed. This is not to say that all Nigerians are greedy. Very good people. Chulu has already mentioned that. Prince has mentioned that. There are very good people in Nigeria. And when you go closer to them, then you realize that, yes, they are really angels in the so-called demons. Very good people. When we talk about security, that in modern security, the foundation is intelligence. You know, the two go hand in hand. We have security, we have intelligence. The foundation is intelligence. And intelligence has always been proactive and not reactive. The failure of Nigerian army to prevent these instances of kidnapping is just because of their inability to be proactive. There's no proactiveness. And intelligence is a shared responsibility. But that shared responsibility is also built on the foundation of trust. You agree with me? Even in Ghana here, it is very difficult to confide in some of these security people. You confide in some of the security people, police, CIDs, whatever, and then they will expose you. So it is the case in Nigeria. Then intelligence management has also become business. I don't want to repeat what my colleagues have already repeated. You know, there's too much of quackery in the narrative. One, I mean, Nigeria is not a banana republic. And Nigerian army is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful in West Africa at least. Nigeria has the most powerful army in West Africa. So at the end of the day, it is lack of professionalism, lack of ethics, lack of sincerity driving the Nigerian army into the mud. And it is important for Nigerians to understand that the army alone cannot do the intelligence and security work. But they themselves will have to be part of the intelligence sharing. And if they do not believe their own army, then they must clearly come out to tell the Nigerian authorities, perhaps to review the enlistment of people into the army and other security institutions. We are told that the Sambisa forest has more equipment, more armory than the Nigerian army. I'm telling you, Sambisa forest, which is operated by Boko Haram and allied terrorist organizations. I'm telling you, experts are saying, if you go to that forest, you will see ammunitions, weapons, more powerful than those that are in the hands of the Nigerian regular army. One, what is the source of the armory? What is the source of the weapons? Who arms them? How do the weapons get to these people? Where do they pass? These are all questions that can be answered in a state of sincerity. But I can tell you that terrorism or insecurity has become an enterprise in Nigeria. And let us not be fooled into thinking that it is only the army officers who do it. No. Politicians, business people, influential people are all members of the gang that has taken insecurity as an enterprise in Nigeria. All of them, they are involved. And it is important for all of us to understand that when Nigeria is not safe, the whole of West Africa is not safe. The movement of, freedom of the people out of no force. In fact, every intelligent person will ask such a question. For the one posed by Solo, no force was applied. How then were they released? Was it out of diplomatic effort? If it is out of diplomatic effort, then we should know who was responsible for that diplomacy. Who talked to whom? How did they arrive at the conclusion that the people should be released without any force? So, my brother, I do not want to waste too much of time on this laughable story. I think it was staged, and we need to be more serious than what we have been told. About. We need to be more serious. I strongly believe that something is missing. But if that is the case, then we have to find out. Because, yes, Solo says he will celebrate it, but I will celebrate it. At least I will celebrate one thing, that we have refused to be fooled. And that is a cause of celebration. and that there is the need for us to establish the veracity of this narrative. There is the need for us to establish how the narrative has been mounted. And if we are able to trace the source of that narrative, then it will link us to a monumental solution to the whole saga of insecurity. Let me conclude by saying that security is a responsibility.
Right.
And that responsibility thrives on trust. God bless Africa. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohamed Abubakar Marzouk. Now, still to come, be ready for presidency. Ahoy tells Nana anything can happen. NPP to name running mate next month. The Ghanaian publisher. Let's go for a short breather. Once we return, we shall be getting into that conversation concerning the National Democratic Congress and the comments that have arisen from that. Is it a party? Was it a party? Then the comments that arose from that party. We go for that. We go for a quick break. We return. We get into that conversation.
The other major project that is coming on stream, which is bound to make a dramatic change to the economy, is the Adar Songor Salt Project, being spearheaded by Electrochem Salt Mine Limited, led by the dynamic Ghanaian entrepreneur, Mr. Dan McCaughey, aka McDan. After many years of disputes, which prevented the exploitation of salt at the site, work has finally started, and salt will be mined on a large commercial scale. With its initial ability to produce some 650,000 metric tons of salt per annum, and expanding its productive capacity to 1 million metric tons this year, and to 2 million metric tons by 2027, at 99.9% purity, the Electrochem Salt Mine will be the biggest salt-producing facility in the whole of Africa. The other major project that is coming on stream, which is bound to make a dramatic change to the economy,
Welcome back. Still the morning show, Good Morning Africa, live on Pan African Television. Before the breather, I give you heads up with regards to our next topic for discussion or conversation. Kwesi Ahoy sparks outrage in NDC. That is how today's edition of the Daily Guide has captured it. You pick the Ghanaian publisher. Interesting. Atamil's fate can befall Mahama. Kwesi Ahoy tells Nana to get ready. Right, you pick the custodian. Mahama may suffer Mills's fate. Ahoy's plot Nana's presidency. And you take the Daily Statesman. Be ready for presidency. Ahoy tells Nana anything can happen. All the papers, have captured it. Let me finally say what's on the front page of the Supreme newspaper. Ahoy drops hint. Fante Confederation planning to eliminate Mahama. So, like earlier stated, all the papers will capture this story for obvious purposes. And I know, and it is understandable why the NPP would have a great interest in this particular issue, especially when the late finance minister, in the wake of his death, issues in relation to poison came up. The NDC harped on it. So it is rather axiomatic and obvious that the NPP would want to do same. And yesterday, on the statuses of some of my NPP friends, including those who come here, one person posted, what is the NDC planning to do to my beloved Mahama? And I said, you're beloved. I said, my beloved Mahama. But I mean, we all agree that that was a gaffe, something he shouldn't have said. And he's come out to apologize, by the way. I read the apology on the newspaper headline segment of the show. Maybe I should read it to our viewers again. It says, I have taken notice of them.
Why haven't you read the story, but the apology.
Oh, the story. We all are privy to that. Okay, so right. If I should tell.
In any case,
right.
I'm not dictating to you.
Right. No. I can understand.
I'm just.
I mean, we shouldn't be biased, right?
Yeah.
Right. It is the recent widely circulated video featuring Kwesi Arwoe's remarks to Professor J. Nana HEADMAN, the running mate of John Dramani Mahama, has triggered significant outrage among National Democratic Congress supporters. Arwoe's suggestion that Nana should be primed to assume the presidency due to the potential of John Mahama's passing has deeply offended many within the party. The timing of Arwoe's controversial statement amidst the ongoing uncertainty surrounding Atta Mills' death has exacerbated the frustration and skepticism among NDC loyalists. Many interpret Arwoe's insinuation as potentially motivated by hidden agendas, including, why would you say agendas? Agendas is already the plural form of agendum, right?
Sure.
Right.
But then, yes, that's the traditional grammar in modern usage. Even now, if you take the latest edition of Oxford University, they are more driven, or they are more compelled to submit to public usage, even if it is wrong. So you now have
agendas.
Yes, agendas.
Right.
But I will tell you, to be frank with me, as a linguist, I will tell you that I'm still not comfortable with it. I will stick to my agendum.
Yes, agenda, right. Many interpret Arwoe's insinuation as potentially motivated by hidden agendas, including suspicion of retaliation against Mahama. There is a growing belief among some party members that the Arwoe's harbor ulterior motives against Mahama, further deepening the rift within the party. This sentiment is reinforced by the belief among certain party members that the Arwoe's, once regarded as influential figures, particularly during the Atta Mills administration, have seen their sway notably decline. This decline in influence coincides with Mahama's tenure, suggesting that as Mahama consolidated his authority within the party, he ushered in a new era where members of the old guard were relegated to the background. Kwesi Arwoe's assertion, therefore, may reflect the frustration felt by NDC members who perceive themselves as sidelined under Mahama's leadership. In Nana, they see an opportunity to recalibrate the balance of power within the party, potentially regain the influence and prominence they once held, and reshape the party's trajectory according to their interests. The consequence for the NDC could be further internal division and conflicts, potentially weakening its cohesion and effectiveness in the upcoming election. Given the volatile nature of Arwoe's statement, it is no wonder that numerous NDC members have been outraged. It's a long story, but I'll end it here. I think I have to start with Prince Mahmoud on this story, and I think he would have something very interesting to tell us, and Ghanaians in general will be itching to hear what the NDC says, will have to say on this particular issue. But my question is, why the conviction in the first place that the NDC is going to win the election, to the very extent that you are plotting you are plotting that the flag bearer of the party would win and may not even end his tenure? So the running mate to the flag bearer should prepare herself. She's not even the vice president in the first place to start with. So why all these statements? Prince?
Yeah. I think that we shouldn't see this story from the lenses or from the point at which we are viewing it.
How should we view it then?
I watched and listened to the video carefully several times over and over.
As have we all.
And I will want to do the analysis based on some terms. I believe that that statement or that comment was made out of malice. That is my belief. After carefully watching and listening to the video, it was probably just an advice.
Okay, so you mean it wasn't made out of malice?
Malice, yes. That's my first impression, and that's my first understanding of the whole thing. That,
yeah.
Out of peace of
Yeah, peace. Oh no, please.
You are interested in that?
No. We've moved away from that. It was only the agenda and agenda.
Yeah. So, like, what I was trying to say is that, to start with, it was made, I mean, without
malice.
having any malice.
Maybe it was said in jest
of his thoughts. Now, why are we worried? Why is it becoming a story? Why is everybody talking about it? We are in a political season where a ruling government have failed the people of Ghana to the extent that the bashing on them is just too much. It's just like being drowned in a sea. So at the sight of any straw, you will want to hold onto it, just to save some, I mean, save yourself some bashing and just go on some little leaf. That is how I'm looking at the whole thing. Come to think of it, what did he say? Kwesi Ahoy advised Professor Jenan Opoku-Agyeman to prepare herself that she can find herself in a situation whereby she will act as a president. Now, Bless, let's just be very honest with ourselves. Everybody, probably because of the example he gave, that the late Professor Mills, through natural occurrences, passed away, and former President Mahama had to step in as president, probably unexpected, and all those things. So you see, the aspect of bringing in the death of former President Mills is what has allowed people to insinuate and to make conclusions that, oh, he was probably saying that President Mahama, if he eventually becomes the president of Ghana again, he was going to die and wouldn't end his tenure. And so you see, that element created room for people to think. But as a practicing Muslim, we are being told in the Holy Quran that kul nafsan za'ikatul maut, that every soul, not every human being, but every soul, meaning every living thing, shall taste death. So what is wrong? Are we saying that we are aware that former President Mahama will necessarily have to live up to a certain time of his life? No. If you do that, you are challenging the powers of our Creator. It is the same way you cannot also determine when his life probably will end, because Almighty Allah did not give us that powers to also know that it will happen at this time. The only assurance he has given us is that every soul shall taste death. Now come to think of it, you don't allow this to resurrect issues to me that in the first place were based on unfounded allegations. If you, I was listening to you whilst you read the story that especially when the circumstances surrounding the death of the former president is shrouded in whatever. Why? Former President Mills' death, it is only a few mischievous Ghanaians that are still, or that tried very hard in the past and is even still trying to make some stories out of it. If not, we are being told, as we all knew, that he died through a natural course. And if you premise it around what I said by quoting the Holy Quran, it tells you that it was quite normal, just like it's normal for any other soul, whether a day old, whether a second old, even before the child comes out and all those things, it becomes very normal. We are faced as a country today. We have one of our major challenges in power crisis. We have to be talking about those things. Our educational system is collapsing. We have to talk about those things. If you are selected as a running mate, you are a potential vice president, right? What is wrong if you are being told to prepare your mind? Because what are you deputizing? What are you, you are going to assess somebody. If there was surety that the leader or the president will always be available, why do you need a vice president? Bless. If we were too certain that the president will always and at all times be available, why do we need a vice president? Today, we have instances where even within the family setup, people become fathers unexpectedly. Some firstborns, as we put it, sleep and wake up, and the next day they turn out to play fatherly role in the family. So, for instance, in my case, if my old man should call me one day, I'm the first son, and tell me that, I have to begin to prepare myself that one day I can become the father of that family. What is wrong with that? Because I know my father will die one day. I know that. Just that when it will happen, I don't know. So even as the first son of the family, when I sit alone, I try to prepare and psych myself that one day I can wake up and the entire responsibility of the family will be on me. What is wrong with that? Apart from the natural exit, which we know to be death, there are several instances that the president will not be around, and the vice president will have to step in and act as the president. So if an advice is given to her that, Prof, prepare yourself. Just don't see yourself as a vice and limit your thoughts and your mind to just assisting, but as well try to prepare your mind that you can step in at any point in time to act as the president. If you ask me, the only part the only part I find problematic in the whole statement is when he used death, the natural exit of Prof. Mills, as the example. There are several. In fact, it is within the basket of examples that he could use. It is not a wrong example that he used. It's one of them. But we as a people, and within the space that we find ourselves today, people watch out for instances or points that they can use to be mischievous. So, upon saying that, the opponents, in quotes, will pick it. If not, any faith-believing person will not see this as worrying. After all, former President Mahama has not engaged in any contract with our Creator that it is this day that I will exit. He has not. Nobody has witnessed such contract. So, bless, I think that we should rechannel our energies towards looking at the teething problems that are affecting our daily lives as Ghanaians. The fact that our growth is stagnating, we have to be worried about those things. And to the NDC party, I don't see this to be any cause for us to start talking. The Ahoys don't like Mahama. The Ahoys were power brokers and today they are not, and all those things. Look, in politics, what goes behind the scenes is not for the cameras. And it is not something that we can all sit here and know. Who is a power broker in the NDC? It's not a matter for, everybody out there to know. And who is even a power broker? Have you ever heard any of them insulting each other? All what we say are just conjectures. We are assuming, we speak on assumptions, on other issues. So for me, I think that, this is not something that should have gotten the attention, if not for mischievous purposes. It shouldn't have gotten the attention that you people have given it. You, the journalists.
I'll say that whatever interpretation that has been given this statement from Mr. Ahoy, you cannot move away from the fact that the NDC would treat it that same way should this have come from the NPP. Like this poison issue.
No, but you see, those things are quite different.
So it is obvious
NPP,
that people, the opposition would want to use this to score cheap political points.
But what I'm saying is that they are completely different. Because in the case of what is happening in the NPP, you have a case where leading members of NPP, right, have publicly stated that there are several attempts of poisoning some key people in NPP. That is one. You have journalists in this country who in one way or the other is associated or seen aligning with the NPP, making these allegations, right? You have aides of the regional chairman of NPP in the Ashanti region giving specific details, which up till now, no one has come out to say that the allegations being made by this gentleman is not true. On several occasions, these things have been stated that, look, there is this deliberate attempt by some elements within the party to poison others. And look, why won't we believe it? Why do you equate it to just an advice somebody has given and all those things? It happened that some of the names mentioned in the allegations, these are the things that are happening around them. It calls for worry. Are you getting the vote? So for me, I don't think that it is something that we can easily... And subsequently after that, we saw what happened. We saw audiovisual evidence where these MPP people, those in quote, whose lives are being threatened, will go for a public event, they will bring water and the water will pass from the beginning to the end. Nobody will agree to take the water. You find instances where the flag bearer himself will go and carry his plate and stand by buffet and watch them serve his food directly in his plate.
But that's humility.
What I'm saying is that, well, it could be coincidence.
He can't risk
sitting somewhere and sending someone to go and serve his food. He went there himself with plate.
It's not suspicion, it's humility.
What I'm saying is that it could also be coincidence. The one we have not seen him in the past carrying his own plate and standing an inch away from the food.
He has decided to be humble.
That's what I'm saying. That so it could be coincidence. So you saw the flag bearer himself.
Yes.
He was watching the food, and they were fed. He was just an inch away from it. Mm-hmm. So you see, that's quite different,
right?
From this harmless advice that was. I'm looking at it from the physical. I mean, for her to prepare herself that Jack,
I think
look, it's possible.
You could have left it just there. Prepare yourself. You could be president one day. But
I agree with you, but I'm saying that
you know, nature scheme.
That's what I'm saying. That he picked an example from a basket of legitimate examples that he could use. That example, in my view, there is nothing wrong with that because it can happen. Or you are saying it can't happen.
It can happen.
It can happen. So my point is that maybe his choice.
It can happen does not mean you should say it.
So that is what I'm saying. It is not he also saying it that will let it happen.
But you don't have to say
it. If it will. In any case, if it will.
Mr. Hoy is no mean a person in the national.
It doesn't matter if he is not a mean person. His words doesn't carry any weight in the face of God, and it is not NDC that determines the life of anybody. Yeah. It is the Creator.
Now there you have the NPP using this against you, and I mean,
and it is also because they want a briefing space. Because they are
you've granted them.
But I think it is also not bad to grant a friend a briefing space.
You have granted them. Let me read the apology. I have taken notice of the unfortunate controversy that has arisen as a result of a comment I made at a reception organized last Thursday by the Church Street group of NDC faithfuls for Professor Jenan Opoku-Agyeman, running mates to our esteemed flag bearer, H.E. John Dramani Mahama. I sincerely regret the wrong impression that my comment has created. Indeed, it was not my intention and never will it be my intention to pray that John Mahama does not serve his full 4-year term when he wins the 2024 general elections. I concede that I misspoke on the occasion. I accept the criticisms in good faith, even though some of the criticisms arise out of a deliberate misrepresentation of my statement. Indeed, Professor Jenan Opoku-Agyeman, in response to my toast, pointed out the erroneous impression created by my statement and was categorical in asserting that she was certain that John Mahama will win the 2024 general elections and serve his full 4-year term. You see, interestingly, that part where Mr. Awo is telling us that Professor Nana Jane, in response to his toast, pointed out the erroneous impression created by a statement. That part wasn't part of the video.
Yes.
It wasn't part of the video. So Ghanaians won't care about that part. It is unfortunate that my statement appears to have taken the shine off what was otherwise a cheerful and light-hearted occasion. It does not appear. It has actually taken off the shine. It does not appear. I hereby render an unreserved and unqualified apology to H.E. John Dramani Mahama, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, the leadership and rank and file of the great NDC. Comrades and friends, let us put this unfortunate incident behind us and unite behind our flag bearer, the visionary nation builder, to rescue our beloved country in the December 2024 election. Hey, listen to the superlatives.
You think it's expensive?
Well, you know, that is control.
you know. Let me come to you, Doc Marzouk, on this.
All right. So, Uncle Ahwai himself admits that he has misspoken.
Yeah.
But my brother says there's nothing wrong with that. But I understand the argument of my brother. You see, Prince has done very well, but he has raised a moral argument.
Yeah.
And when you raise a moral argument, you definitely not see anything wrong with that. In fact, I as a Muslim, I do not see any wrong with anybody telling me that I will die. I don't see anything wrong with that within the context of Islam. There's nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, we are not dealing with a moral issue. We are dealing with a political issue.
Yeah.
So that moral argument may be contextually faulty. Because, my brother, I agree with you because I'm a fellow Muslim. I agree with you because I reason that even beyond Islam, man must die.
Yeah.
I agree with you because it is a reality in life that death shall come when it shall come.
Yeah.
In the words of Julius Caesar, death,
yeah,
the necessary end, will come when it will come.
Yes.
This is a painful reality, so everybody knows that. But in political communication, there are two things that should be taken into consideration. Two things. One, content. Two, context. between the two is intention. If you consider only one, the content, just as you have considered in mounting that moral argument, you will be wrong in political communication because it is not ideal. Then, if you consider only context two without content, you will be wrong. For the intention, it lies in the hands of the sayer. As for the intention, nobody knows. The intention could only be understood out of our own analysis, and we can also be wrong. You understand that? I have made a statement. My statement is a construction derived from content and context. But what I mean is only known to me. What I mean can only be known to you by your own analysis of it. So your interpretation can be faulty. In this case, the Uncle Ahoy is an elderly person, so I wouldn't use the word reckless. If it had been uttered by a younger person, in fact, that would have been a classic example of a reckless statement. Very reckless. You see, you are making a statement that has the potential to resurrect a lot of dead controversies. I am highly disturbed anytime at all the issue of the death of John Atta Mills is mentioned. I don't like it. Is it because he was our president? Somebody's death being the subject matter of controversy. Well, I don't like it. And in this case too, I'm also being much more moral. You understand that? So he should have avoided that aspect. And to tell Jane Nana that she should prepare for presidency. I mean, yes, she can. You could have ended it there. She can prepare for presidency after the term of former President John Mahama. She can prepare for the presidency maybe whenever John Mahama is out of the country. You see, she can prepare for the presidency anytime at all she is asked to handle certain presidential duty. Yeah, you can mention that. If time will not allow you to mention that, that's why I'm saying content and context. But the content is diction. As for the context is dictated by circumstances. I strongly believe that the context in which he spoke did not warrant these reckless words. Did not at all. So he should have avoided those words. But let me be clear to Ghanaians. I mean, this is an elderly man who may have certain deficiencies associated with age, right? So when he says something, we should be very, very, very fair to him. Where he has erred, we should mention. Where he hasn't erred, we should avoid. For example, I mean, I cannot understand how somebody can interpret this statement to mean that Fanti Confederacy plotting to kill former President John Mahama. First of all, that statement itself is very unethical, and it is on the front page of a newspaper. A journalist indeed. I think this passes for media terrorism. A journalist, Fanti Confederacy, and then you are mentioning a whole tribe. That confederacy, and we know Fanti Confederacy, the role Fanti Confederacy played in our anti-independent, our anti-colonial struggle. We know, right? Today you are using that holy, in our political lexicon, that statement is holy. I mean, that phrase, Fanti Confederacy, is holy. You are using that holy phrase in our political lexicon to demonize somebody. That is very unfortunate. So all I am saying is that as politicians, you guys should be very mindful of your words. And any time at all you want to mount a political platform, you try as much as possible to to consider these two fundamental characteristics of these two fundamental features of political communication, content and context. If you put the content, let me give you a classic example in relation to content and context. Blessed. If I say Blessed slept, yes, last night Blessed slept because he was so tired. The word sleep here has no any diabolical meaning. But let me say, yesterday I was surprised that Blessed slept with his own sister. Tafiakpa. You understand that? Yesterday, Blessed slept. You see, the same sleep. I hope you are listening. You see? The same sleep. But in one instance, it is used, the context is that you have gone to bed. In another instance, the context, I'm using the context that Blessed slept last night because he was so tired after work. In this context, there's no diabolism. But, I was surprised that yesterday, Blessed slept with his own sister. Contextually, everybody will raise red flags. Blessed sleeping with his own sister, the same sleep. But the differences in meaning are determined by the context. So, my brother, I think this is an opportunity for us to reaffirm our commitment to the use of decent vocabulary and to the consideration of content and context as we move towards the heated period of the electioneering campaign. Politicians should learn from that. I know they don't believe in moralism, but politics in Ghana is also regulated by a high dose of moralism. After all, we are godly people. Ghana is a secular democratic state, yet we are godly people, and that is why our national anthem starts with God. God bless our homeland Ghana, and our national pledge ends with God, and so help me God. So we are godly people in a secular democratic state. Let the politicians also uphold at least a semblance of moralism in their approaches to electioneering campaign and in their conduct of the entire democratic politics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marzik. Before I come to Solomon Owusu, I'll read a few messages. Good morning to you and your guests and viewers. The statement wasn't necessary. People of his caliber should not make such a statement. Yes. Mohammed Abubakar Sadiq from Tamale sent this one. I'm Prosper in Tamale. Help me extend my regards to NDC parliamentary candidate for Nandom constituency, Honorable Dr. Richard Query. Thank you. Yeah. But you see, I don't understand why, and this is one of the things I disagree with. Somebody, what makes you an honorable person in Ghanaian politics? That is when you're able to get into parliament, right? Sure. So you see somebody who is now contesting to become a member of parliament. Yeah, a lot of and the person adds honorable to his name. If, like, what? But once again, why is that?
Yes, so once again, let me come in. You know, today I'm happy you are raising issues of my own interest. You see, prescriptive grammarians, they are pedants, and they are those who will not accept their genders, even criteria. Look at the modern dictionary, you see criteria.
Yes, instead of criteria.
And even as you said, it makes it very easy for a member of parliament that even in our arrangements, that honorable should go with the name of the constituency.
Yes. So let me explain this. So you see, in the descriptive grammarians will accept criteria and criteria. Prescriptive grammarians will not accept. They will say criterion as singular and criteria as plural, and they are very pedantic. They are not.
They are pedantic.
Yeah, they are not easily. Yeah. Accepting new trends. Yeah. You understand that? It's very difficult for them to accept new trends. Prescriptive grammarian will stick to agendum and agenda.
I think I'm prescriptive,
yeah, you are prescriptive, so you are pedant. So the same honorable, let me tell you, in linguistics, we have what we call, what we call social linguistics. We have what we call our local usage. When you go to Britain, right, even in America, the word American political vocabulary, the word honorable is almost nil. Nobody calls anybody honorable in America. Honorable is a pure word from British political lexicon.
Yeah.
And honorable is only meant for the parliamentarians. And they are even addressed honorable when they are in the floor of parliament. Outside nobody. You understand that? However, if you come to word formation, under word formation, we have what we call borrowing. We can also borrow and use it the way we want it. So even though, yes, in pure British English, honorable is only for parliamentarians on the floor of parliament. But when we borrow it, we are also at liberty, linguistically, we're also at liberty to use it the way we want it. For example, chief, we have in our context, and it brings us to content and context. In our context, chiefs are those who are leaders in villages, having lands and titles and whatever. In UK, there's nothing like that. You don't have Nantong chief or Oxford chief or Cambridge chief. You understand that? Either chief director, chief executive, chief this, chief that. We have borrowed that word chief. And we are using it.
They have police chiefs.
Police chief and whatever chief. So under word formation, subtitle, borrowing, we can borrow linguistically, we can borrow, we can also use it to suit our own context. And that is why linguists have been able to devise English as a second language, English as a foreign language, British English, American English. And that's why in this era, we have the word Englishes. We are no longer having only one English. We have Englishes. The Ghanaian English, the American English, Nigerian English, Australian English. So let the British English limit the use. Let me finish.
Yes, I disagree with this.
So to be honorable member.
Yes, honorable. Look, let the British English limit the use of honorable to MPs on the floor of Parliament.
Yes.
Ghanaian English
would extend
the usage.
Yeah, right.
And I hear today, I agree with one professor. She proposes the need for us to have our own Ghanaian English. And then she called it Ghanaianism. Yes, Ghanaianism. Yes, she was a very respected professor at the University of Ghana. Yes. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. We know how it is used in the British context. We have also decided to use it in our context.
In our context.
We should not be subjected to any form of linguistic imperialism. Thank you.
Right. Right. Dr. Marzu could not pass up any opportunity to exercise a piece of grammatical pedantry, and I like it. I like it. I'm actually seated in this chair because of English. If I wasn't so, eloquent, you agree I'm eloquent. If I weren't in the first place, I wouldn't be sitting on this chair. But I mean, away from that grammar classroom, let's still proceed and focus on this issue. Let me read two more messages before I come to Mr. Owusu. Juliana De Nelson says, please don't waste your time belaboring this point. Pure mischief, they better mourn and fish out the poisoning brigade in the NPP. Okay. Yusuf Mohammed says, dear panelist, to Mr. Ahoy to have said what he said is religiously and traditionally wrong and out of place. An elderly person like Mr. Ahoy should not have said this. There is no two ways about it. Let us all learn about this and not make such statements, whether publicly or in private. Okay. Mmabia Damba says the most incompetent vice president ever in the history of Ghana is Dr. Baumia. Charlie. Please send me messages in relation to the topics you are discussing.
We have auto messages.
Send me messages on auto. They've cut it down. So they are waiting. When the show is on, they'll say whether it is the topic or not. But let me come to Mr. Osu. And I know he has interesting stuff to say about this particular issue.
This morning, the job of my brother Prince was a very difficult one, and I don't envy him at all. Because if you speak for the motion, it's wahala. If you speak against the motion, it's wahala. I know, so I said this morning, when I saw the topics and I met my brother, I said, why must Okutre go and eat his pepper for him
and
to
then
come?
need to come and shoot it. Of course, communication is not easy.
It's not easy because but he did well. He needed to navigate through the whole issue.
You have a lot to say. So
I know. The truth of the matter is that Mr. Kwesi Ahoy did not help matters. He didn't help matters at all. I mean, the days leading to when he made those statements, what were the issues that we were discussing? We were discussing the president's refusal to sign the Trumu bill. That up to date, it is still on this. It hasn't gotten to him for him to sign. So the New Patriotic Party has been praying that they will have something to counter what was being discussed in the political circles. My new election 2024, these are some of the reasons why Ghanaians are going to settle on an independent candidate. Because the two political parties are not giving reassurance or reassuring the Ghanaian that when given the opportunity, they will do something different. But you see, I have a different view to all this. What was the occasion? It was a reception. Is that not the case? At receptions, people eat and drink. Is that not the case? So I am tempted to believe that Mr. Ahoy probably took alcohol. I'm tempted to believe.
There are two groups of people who are very honest. Babies and then people who are drunk.
Fantastic. I stand for correction with all due respect to Mr. Ahoy.
He was drunk.
Maybe he was drunk. Because he himself has come out to say he misspoke.
Yeah.
And I don't think in his normal life, he always comes to us apologizing for the things that he says. It gives me the cause to believe that probably he had overeaten or overtaken alcohol, so it got to him.
He was overexcited.
Excited. Because you see, immediately, the person that you were making advising immediately said no, she disagreed with your advice, and that it wasn't good. Because if for anything at all, Mr. Mahama has been so good to the woman. Yeah. Against all odds. I mean, this running mate appointment was the one that was fiercely fought for. I have never seen a running mate position
in the NDC
that people actually campaigned, lobbied. You know, Leslie Tamaklo, he has all his adverts across. He was going to funeral parties here and there just to convince the rank and file of the NDC members, to convince former President John Mahama to appoint him as a running mate. You heard of the names of Julius Debra, Wadakon, and so on and so forth. So if in spite of all these names, former President Mahama settles on Jane, it means he actually respects the competence of the woman. So for you to say, that is why I'm saying probably he was drunk, because in the same statement, he gave the reason why Professor Mills died. He said, nature's killed. When he says nature's killed something, it means this was not orchestrated by human, what do you call it? Actions. Now God in his own wisdom decided to take off Professor Mills. I don't know whether he communicates with God or Allah every morning to have that eye to know that God this time around, in any case, like you rightly said, who has assured the NDC or the NPP that they are winning this election? For NPP and NDC to believe that they will win election 2024 means Ghanaians have accepted poverty, that they will still be in poverty. Because these two political parties have brought us that far. Our nemesis since 1992 to date, if it's not NPP, it's NDC, and we are always crying. Why do you think that we are always changing them? So for anybody to think that the status quo will remain means Ghanaians, we have accepted that we will be poor forever. And I don't think that the Ghanaian will make that mistake. And that is why the Ghanaian is going to settle on Prof. Alan John Kojo Chemate as the next president. You see, that this whole issue has advantaged someone like Kwaku Agyedoho. And I'm sure he has not spoken. He's preparing the propaganda wing. The likes of Alote Jacobs. And even those that were lobbying to be running mates, this is the time that they are going to work together with the new patriotic party to be coming out with a lot of propaganda piece. You see, yesterday, the office of the former president had to issue a statement debunking prostate cancer.
No, that news is fake.
It's also fake?
Yeah, it's not from the office of the former president.
Oh, that is good. Because now, people are now actually saying that there's a medical report.
Yeah, it's fake.
Attributing the health conditions or stating the health conditions of former president.
I've not heard that one.
No, I read it all over. And you see where we are getting to.
No, but I'm saying that statement you are making reference to is...
So good. So now they have to officially issue a statement. I have not seen the official statement. I'm very happy that you have informed me that it's a fixed statement.
Yes,
When I saw it, I was alarmed that within a space of 10 minutes, people have actually come out with a statement from the office of the former president saying that he's not sick, he's not suffering from prostate cancer. So they should officially come on all the portals to denounce this whole thing. The reason why, where the statement came from is in bad taste is that, you see, I don't know whether you have read the book written by Professor Kwame Nkrumah himself, Working with Rawlings. The sort of things that he said actually pitched the Ahoys against the PNDC. And there is also a propaganda in the system that the Ahoys never likes John Mahama. Yeah. And that they are fighting for one of their own. Indeed, before the naming of Professor J. Nana, we came here and discussed that, in fact, the Ahoys are threatened that if Professor J. Nana Opoku was not retained as a running mate, they were going to withdraw their support for the NDC. Lo and behold, Professor J. Nana was appointed. You know, in that book I made reference to, Working with Rawlings, who was the editor and who wrote the foreword? It was Professor J. Nana Opoku Agyeman that did the editing and did the foreword. And listen to the concluding part of that critique. You know, there was a critique from Martin Amidu. And listen to the concluding part of Professor Martin Amidu.
Why are you saying all these things? Just about this small thing.
I want to
making reference to books.
But you're also speaking.
Oh, my brother.
He's taking it too serious.
You also went to poisoning and...
I'm even not coming though. I'm not even coming to the poisoning issues. And you will not even let me finish with yours fast and go into the MBB arena and quickly deal with the issues and establish why there will not be any candidate worthy of going to the Jubilee House apart from Alan come 2025.
Amen.
A.B. Amidu says in his conclusion, having analyzed the whole, he said the foregoing analysis and critique demonstrate that Professor Kwame Nkrumah, the author of Working with Rawlings, and Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, PhD, FJ, the writer of the foreword, who was also the avowed lead editor, reviewer, and the greatest interviewer of all times, who declared the book publishable, lack the ethics and integrity. To be sincere leaders of Ghana intending to give present and future leaders some ideas about governance at the highest levels, the do's and don'ts of governance, the skills required for governance, and so on and so forth. So already there seemed to be that unease or uneasiness or whatever you call it between the Fanti caucus in the NDC and the other sects within the party. Remember, just recently, the leader of the party in parliament, Haruna Idrisu from the northern part, was removed and was replaced with somebody from the central region. That also became another matter. So for Kwesi Ahoy to have said this, rather did not do any good thing to Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman. And from today to go, you will see the effects of that statement. To the NPP that has connived with, mind you, it's not the only NPP people that publish this. You have NDC elements who are collaborating with the NPP. Remember the current chairman of the NDC during his campaign, that is Chairman Shedun Ketia, told us that under Chairman of Osampofu, there were leading members of the NDC who were doing clandestine business with the NPP. That is why they lost. So some of these publications, they do it together with their corporates or their accomplice within the NDC. They are going to come out with a lot of these, but they shouldn't be happy at all, because we are now going to do the 1 week celebration of Donkuma. Now the family is also saying that they disagree vehemently with the position of the wife, and that what the wife, who has elected herself as the spokesperson of the family, is doing is not culturally right, and that nobody must take that position serious.
The wife has adopted nuclear family.
Can you imagine?
Not exactly.
But I must say the wife has listened to good counsel. She stopped talking. She has stopped listening to those politicians who would only push innocent souls for their useless and bogus business. Yes, what has happened? It has the tendency of leading the NDC to place third in 2024 elections.
What has happened?
With what Professor Kwesi Ahoy or Dr. Kwesi Ahoy has said, the cracks within the NDC would manifest. You see, the group that held the reception, whether like that church street or so, is predominantly the Fanti Confederacy that was doing that. You get my point. What political capital was the NDC going to get by saying what he said? Though in truth or factually he was right, that John Mahama can die, and indeed he's not immortal. he can die at any given time. But what was the benefit that Ghanaians, and for that matter NDC members, were going to get from that statement? Needless. But like I said, maybe he took something else. That is why he came out with this. For those of us in the movement for change, we have said that before we get to December 7, 2024, these two political parties, their own actions and inactions, will lead Ghanaians into that conclusion that there can only be an independent candidate that can take us far. Only last week, listen to what the Vice President of the land boldly told GRA workers. Vice President, who is the head of the economic management team that wants to lead this country, openly tells us that GRA people that he has been sending, he has been giving them ridiculous targets. Today, we are being chased everywhere. He says, you are harassing people. And listen to what the GRA people are saying. This country, if you go and vote for these two political parties, if you go and vote for these two political parties, it will be haram. It will be haram. And you will never cease to know poverty. Listen to what the GRA is saying to the Vice President.
They don't respect.
They don't respect. I mean, come on. When you have a Vice President who is the head of economic management team, first of all, the GRA is telling the Vice President that they don't set targets for themselves. You set the target for them. Now, their paragraph 5, they say, we also call on the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa, the GRA board, the civil society organization, and all well-meaning Ghanaians to admonish political functionaries to desist from making such pronouncements. They fell short of saying ridiculous pronouncement. You understand? And intervene swiftly as this statement poses a major risk to revenue mobilization efforts going forward.
I agree with that.
So now they are saying, no, if I were them, and this goes beyond the GRA to also Senate. You see, Senate people, the way you harass us, our own money we are contributing for future. Every little opportunity, small opportunity, you want to take us to court. Now the vice president is saying they have not sent you people to be harassing us. It's haram. But the only way the GRA staff can stop such pronouncements is to go into election 2024, take the ballot and vote against the vice president, because he will not stop or cease making some of these statements. How on earth? Well, how did we get here, blessed? That the whole vice president, who has the power to call the GRA boss, the commissioner, and say some of these things are overreaching, and that you must really look at your mode of operations. You go on air because of the author of politics, because the people of Kumasi are complaining that you are harassing them, and to think that what you did in between 2014 to 2016 to win the minds of Ghanaians, you can do same today to win power. You go and tell them that they are being harassed. How? What is this? This statement should have been the topic for this week, but for Kwesi Aware's intervention. And that is why strongly, but this topic will just vanish by tomorrow, and we will still come back to the LGBTQ plus and also the GRA topic, and make sure, because at the end of the day, my tax is not going to Kwesi Ahoy, neither is it going to Professor Jinana Opoku. They are all in opposition like myself. That is why sometimes when I come here and I'm speaking, people say, oh, has he now aligned with the NDC? But the NDC is in opposition, I'm also in opposition. So we are all fighting for power. So my language will not be different from what they are saying. You understand? I will concentrate on those that are having my tax and making reckless statements. The vice president immediately has to apologize to the staff of GRE and also to Ghanaians that not because of politics you begin to destroy institutions of state. So with this, in an unlikely event that you become the president of the land, how would you go back to the GRE and set targets for them? How do you think they will be motivated to go and then chase for tax revenue?
He even said they set unrealistic targets.
And you approve the unrealistic targets? First of all, budgets, the budgets that go to parliament is prepared by the government. Is that not the case? Budget is simply expenditure and revenue. It is the revenue targets that is set for these GRA institutions. That is what is used to prepare the budget. So what are you talking about by saying they set unrealistic targets? What is this business? It means the man that intends to lead us as the president of the land, he first of all does not take it serious. Secondly, he doesn't believe that this country has to run properly. Institutions must work. And so we must denounce him. I'll end by saying that all those that wants to capitalize on what Mr. Ahoy has said to, as it were, cause confusion in the NDC, politically, it will be suicidal for all of us. It will be suicidal because it has a tendency of linking tribalism, religious sect, and so on and so forth. And once you do that, we would not have helped this country. He has come out to say he's very sorry. I believe sincerely he's sorry. This morning, I have to put myself in his shoes and say that as a human being, just like the former DVLA boss said when he was involved in some 3.6 million Ghana cedi, he said to err is human. Let us forgive Mr. Ahoy and let's move on as a nation. After all, the NDC is not coming to power. So that issue of the woman taking over as a president will not even, it's not going to arise.
Right.
It's not going to arise.
So to err, let me also add, to err is to learn twice.
To learn twice.
And the error
And fantastic. Right. Fantastic.
Right. I'll do a few messages. Mr. Ken William is a teacher at St. Paul's in Denu Aflao. He says, "Dear host, the utterance by Mr. Ahoy is a double-ended statement that lends itself to several interpretations and connotation in semantics. In one breath, the statement means that the object should be ready to become a president after or at the end of Mohammed's tenure. On the other hand, it means that Nana should be prepared to assume office anytime from now, just as it happened under Prof. Mills. The statement is ambiguous and pregnant with various interpretations which can be avoided when speakers are explicit in their utterances to avoid unintended backlash or misinterpretation." And Ken Williams is a teacher at St. Paul's in Denu. Denu is in the Ketu South. Yeah, Ketu South. Good morning to the good people of Denu, from Agbozome to Toko to Bogedi and all these communities in that enclave. Thank you so much for doing the watching. Sam Banfo says, "Solo, please forget about Alan and join the NDC to chase the elephants into the bush." Alan has been part of our economic woes today. Hamza Mohammed says, Dr. Bawumia should be told in plain language to stop insulting the intelligence of Ghanaians and credit us with the little respect we deserve. For God's sake, the GRA does not set targets for itself. Targets are set for the GRA from the Finance Ministry in consultation with the Economic Management Team, which Dr. Bawumia is the head. So what is he talking about? He also moves on to say he will grant tax amnesty to businesses when he becomes president, meaning he's indirectly telling people not to pay taxes, and when he comes to power, he will grant them tax amnesty. In fact, Dr. Bawumia is a danger to the economic development of this country. Never again the NPP, and never again Dr. Bawumia. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. Maiga Almucha says, "Bless greetings to your panelists and most especially Solo. Let him come to the NDC."
What am I coming to do at the NDC?
I'm watching from Mali in Bamako. So he's watching all the way from.
Oh, he should come and join the movement. Mali movement saves that country. You know?
You are being told the truth.
Oh no, NDC must join the movement.
Right. We have only 13 minutes left, so we'll be very brief on our last topic. Has got to do with the running mate position of the New Patriotic Party. Dr. Bawumia, we know, is the flag bearer. As to who becomes the running mate, we have no idea. But you picked today's edition of the Daily Statesman. There are a few persons here. Mr. Kwejo Nsafwa Poku, Mrs. Akosua Fremont Sel Pari, Dr. Matthew Opoku Pempe, Mrs. Irene Natoshiado, and then Dr. Iyao Osei Educhum. So these are the possible candidates according to the Daily Statesman, and the Daily Statesman is owned by
the Prime Minister,
Gabi Ochedako. So with these faces here, we can say that truly is going to be one of them, especially looking at where the paper is coming from. You know, we can bank our hopes.
John Kuma is no more. I'm sure he would have.
Oh yeah, I understand he was being considered. So I think some 3 minutes each will do. Let me start with Solo.
First of all, it means if the vice president in an unlikely event becomes the president and chooses one of these names, in his absence, they will act in his stead. Is that not the case? Kwejo Poku. What can he do? People must take it serious. Kwejo Poku. Because Kwejo Poku comes on radio or TV to talk about energy matters, which matters we don't know the head and tail of it. And because he contested to be the flag bearer of the party and had like 2 votes or so, he must be considered as a running mate. Are we serious as a country? And that this can be handed over to him in the absence of the vice president. It's a faulty start. The chief of staff, one of the reasons this government has been so powerless, has been weakened, is because of her position as the chief of staff. So weak. She sat down for the president to appoint 123 ministers in the first administration. If she did that, do you know how many ministers she would advise Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to appoint in an unlikely event? We will go beyond 500. Very weak. Matthew Opoku Pepe, as we speak, are we not enjoying Dumso? The situation is so worse in Ashanti region. He is coming from the Ashanti region as the energy minister. We don't have light. And today, bless you have even reminded me, there is a statement that has been issued by VRA. And VRA must come clean, because the independent power producers are saying that the cheap power that we are producing in this country, that is through the hydro, we are rather exporting that energy to other countries, and we Ghanaians are rather buying the expensive ones from the thermal. And see their statement. The statement does not address the issue. They never said anything contrary. And all these things are being supervised by Miss Dr. Matthew Opoku Pepe that they want to consider as the vice president. I don't think he has to. Arinatoshi. The people of Tema West, they even rejected her. You remember she was booted out and they brought Ikalos. Arinatoshi must be the vice president of this country, because NDC are settled on a woman, so there must be, by all means, women in the list. What kind of life is that? Dr. Yao Osei Aduchum, only 2 days ago, a sister station, I don't want to mention their name here, did a program on the school free SHS. Students are not getting food to eat. We don't even have the curriculum or the books. Students are having to learn on the floor. If you go to Wesley Girls, they sleep on the floor, a prestigious school like that. So, a small sector like the education ministry, you couldn't handle. How much more the entire country as the running mate? On the balance of probability, these 5 people, if they have other names, they must bring them, so that we can consider, like I've said, if your candidate is so good, formidable, there will not be the need to be talking about the running mate. But because these 2 political parties have realized that their candidates are not good, they don't meet the criteria or the criterion or the criterias, as this one. So we are having to be focusing on the running mates, and it is this running mate business. You remember John Kuma's issue that we are still here to go into it, because I'm here to see the state prosecute Captain Smart and Ohineba Esiedu for what they said, because they were emphatic. Yeah. Captain Smart said John Kuma has been poisoned because of running mate position.
It was long before.
Exactly. He died. And he's still there. He continues to do his morning show. Ohineba Esiedu even gave narration and linked it to a confirm. You know now people are afraid to chew a confirm. You know what it means to be saying, to be entertaining what Ohineba said. When I go to Tamale and I go to my hotel and they bring a confirm, now do I eat or not to eat? You see, why you must deal with this issue?
Right.
But I dare say and confirm that I've been eating in Tamale are so delicious that I have never experienced this. Make sure you don't take any confirm coming from an MPP member. If you do, your next place will be on the wall and you have obituary. This is a party that is saying that we should give them the opportunity to continue to lead this country. Never again. Ghanaians must settle on Alan Chemate so that we bring all the good people of this country together. Dr. Mazouk Dems to come and lead this country. He leave it to the NDC people, they will appoint him.
Right. Dr. Mazouk.
All right. You see, the choice of running mate has always been very difficult for political parties. So many things are considered. We may not like it, but that is a reality. It's a bitter reality. Geopolitics, religion, geographical location, a strategic person, right? Interest groups. These are all considered. So I believe that the MPP, as a functioning political party, should consider all these things. Normally, in our tradition, when I say in the tradition of the politics of Ghana, the MPP has always been seen to have Muslim-Christian partnership. Vice President Muslim, President Christian. Whether they will stick to that or not is another matter. Then Southern-Northern divide. These are all things that should be considered. But in considering these things, let us be ruled by national unity rather than national disintegration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Prince?
I think that we should have rather had enough time on this particular topic because
it is MPP.
Not because it's MPP, because it's a matter that have a direct no. Because it's a matter that have direct bearing on our national development, if you like, because this is a party that have formed government several times in this country, so matters concerning them cannot be overlooked. You see, just like Solo did, it's public knowledge that these names have always come up, especially if you look at this three, Matthew Poku Prempeh, Duchum, and Frema, especially. One, the MPP today have a very unpopular presidential candidate in the person of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He is very unpopular, even within the MPP itself. In the run-up to selecting him as a flag bearer, we saw what happened. That is why Solo is here, not representing MPP, sadly. Okay? We saw the level of inducement, how a whole government machinery was given to him, and yet he performed so abysmal to be the leader of MPP. So already he's enjoying some level of some kind of unpopularity he's unpopular within his own political party. Now, that gives him a Herculean task in selecting somebody to partner him. But he himself is not popular within his party. He is not enjoying, if you like, massive support within his own political party. So it becomes much more critical. That explains why up till now he cannot comfortably select anybody to be his running mate. A month ago, we were told that he was supposed to announce. They had to go for their NEC meeting and what's the name? He had to seek for time. So you see that issue surrounding him is problematic. You, in the first place, before you became a running mate, a whole constitution of a political party had to be put aside. A waiver had to be given to you before you could become a running mate. Today, timelines within the party's constitution for you to select your running mate, that one to you are saying they should set it aside so that you do it at your own will. You knew you were going to be a flag bearer in any way, especially the way the whole government machinery was given to you. But now look at the lead runner, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. The backbone of the economy of this country sits on energy. It has been given to you. You inherited a relatively healthy energy sector. And you have succeeded to mess it up within a matter of 3 years. And he shamefully came out a week ago to tell us that, what was happening under John Mahama and NDC was doomsday. But what they are experiencing today is that doom CC, meaning to off and repair. That is how dishonest he is. So you have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, a very dishonest leader, established. He wants to choose a running mate who is also very dishonest. Look, no, but he's a very dishonest person. You and I know that if it was the era of Prophet Muhammad, right, he would have struggled to get a wife. Yes, because the hadith will tell us that we are admonished not to give our daughters to only handsome men or educated men, blah, blah, but we should look for honest people and give our daughters to. So he is not qualified. Look, today, if we are to look at the second runner in the person of what's the name, Educhum, look, our educational sector today is sitting on a time bomb.
So, bless
and
you see why I have decided to leave it.
And look, it can explode any day. When I say it, and it will certainly explode in the future, because education as it is today, we might not feel it directly, but it is having a very direct impact going forward. Our educational system under Educhum, he has instilled culture of silence in educational authorities. One, he has messed up especially our secondary education. Today, as we speak, we have a system where new curriculum is introduced in our educational sector, and for 5 years, students have been taught without textbooks, accompanied textbooks. 5 years. Secondary education, students can't get food to eat. That is the reality. Students can't get food to eat. They can't get places to sleep. Everything is in a messy situation, and you want to be a running mate. Finally, on our mother, Akosua Frema.
She's a mother, so don't.
I'll be charitable. I'll be charitable with her.
Yes.
But she doesn't pass to even stay for up to 8 years as chief of staff, as Nanado has given her. She doesn't pass that one.
I think she's a mother, so let's.
So that's what I'm saying. That so she should have just lied low and don't even let her interests come up, because there are a lot of questions surrounding you. The messy aspect of this government happened at the Flagstaff House, and you are the head there. You headed it. All the ministers are answerable to you. A lot of shady deals came through the Flagstaff House. You allowed it to go through. You allowed the president's secretary to write any, in quote, nonsense letter to Parliament that generates a lot of controversy in this country. It's happening under your watch and all those. And so for me, it's much we do about nothing. That it's really not adding anything. The only thing I'm foreseeing is that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will pick one of them as the running mate. They will lose, inshallah, this coming elections, and the running mate will take over from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the flag bearer in 2028.
Right. Thank you very much, Prince Mahmoud. Thank you, Dr. Abubakar Mazouk of the University of Applied Management. Thank you.
Also,
Solomon
I'm giving a prophecy.
Thank you.
I'm saying that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will choose one of them as his running mate. Inshallah, they will lose this coming elections. And the person will also take over from Bawumia
in
as
2028.
As 2020.
Right. Right.
No, but what will happen?
Thank you, Solomon. Thank you,
people like you will
Prince.
come back.
Thank you, Dr. Mazouk, and thank you to our cherished viewers for always giving us your time. We are extremely grateful. The morning show will come your way again tomorrow at exactly 8 a.m., 7 to 10. 7, the newspaper headlines. 8, the newspaper review. My name is ALORMASSOR. I did this for Kwame Osudan. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.